Yuri took about 40 seconds in 610, let's see who can beat that.
7K Dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Aragon vs Sis. As you probably have heard, Yuri has received a huge nerf whereby her Silent Flame skill is no longer a 5 target skill. In that case, she can no longer perform her duties as a farmer in World 610 properly, and if you don't farm in 610 then of course I don't think it affects you very much, but I just want to stress that 610 is indeed a very good map to farm for soul shards. Note that in this video we are specifically focusing on potential farmers only. If you are still unsure about farming basics and settings, I would still recommend that you check my ultimate farming guide for those details. I have listed a total of 5 farmers in this video, one of whom you should probably already be using, and that is Yeonhee. I have covered Winter No-Ho in a very short and separate video, however because she is a farmer who you can only get after 3 years of playing, I do not want to include her in the discussion because it's very unrealistic. Let's first look at Awakened Yeonhee. As we know, she is already very good as a farmer in maps 4, 5, 5, 5, 8, 20 and 13, 5. And this is just a recap. In all these maps, you will mainly only be relying on Yeonhee's basic attacks to kill off the enemies. In the first wave, she should do 2 speed attacks and kill off 3 enemies, while in the second wave, she will trigger her 5-man boom effect once she lands her 3rd attack. You will notice I put to kill Yeonhee's bottom skill in the first wave on the screen. The main reason for this is just in case your Yeonhee does not perform a 2nd speed attack, she can proceed to use her single target skill to clear the first wave without any substantial delay. This will also ensure that she has done 2 attacks and will enter the 2nd wave only to trigger her boom effect. Each run should take about 13 to 15 seconds. Important thing to note is maximizing Yeonhee's speed via weapons. So now comes the question about 610. How can you use Yeonhee to replace Yuri? Just a disclaimer, what I'm about to teach you is really pushing it to the level of 80% stability. There's still a 20% chance of RNG that your run may end up longer than it should. So here's my Yeonhee setup for 610. It's entirely different from the previous Yeonhee, and yes, I did make a new Yeonhee for this. You may want to learn from it, you may not. It's entirely up to you because after all, there are still other farmers to look at. Let me explain step by step. Point number 1, she has no speed because I want to have a higher likelihood of doing only 1 speed attack. You can do this by giving her lethal weapons and by not unlocking her basic trait for attack, which provides 1 speed point. So the goal is to keep her speed as low as you can. Remember the previous Yeonhee you wanted 2 speed attacks, but in 610 you only want 1. So she will clear off the enemies with her 5-man skill after the speed attack, thereby performing 2 attacks in the first wave. Point number 2, make sure she has 100% counter rate including your masteries. So try to gear her up in every possible way such that she has at least 90% counter. You have double counter armor, counter jewel, her exclusive item level 2, and or counter traits and or counter accessory subset. The reason for this is because in the second wave where you do not queue any skills, you will want her to counter the enemy to trigger her boom effect to finish the second wave. Point number 3, I have a taunt accessory with counter rate as a subset for her. Taunt is so that all those guppies or whatever enemy who throw snowballs will only target Yeonhee and she will counter for sure to kill them all in the second wave. Hope you guys understood this part. You can observe from the runs I'm currently displaying. Point number 4, due to this accessory choice, I gave her freeze resistance traits because the enemies have a pretty high chance to freeze, such that at one point even 60% resistance wasn't enough. So that was my explanation. The thing about this Yeonhee is that she has the potential to screw up. If she performs 2 speed attacks, that's it. Basically your entire ideal skill queue will be messed up and you can potentially get a run that may last up to 55 seconds. So yes, that's my warning for you, and please don't look at No-Ho because she really isn't any better in this case. Like I said, I really tried to optimize this Yeonhee for 610 only. I think if you want a really possible fast run of 37 seconds or so, this is the way to go, but it is unstable. So before we look at the fastest and most stable farmer, I have also tested quite a handful of other potential farmers who have the necessary skills to clear the waves without thinking too hard. We have Fengyan, Nia and Nox. Fengyan and Nia both have 3 5-man AoE skills. In this case, you don't need to rely on any speed attack, so it's best that their speed is as low as possible. When doing all these tests, I only gave them freeze resistance and that's it. Fengyan's and Nia's timings range from 43 seconds to 47 seconds. Nox, on the other hand, has one 3-man AoE skill, so you will need to maximize his speed so that he can clear the first wave efficiently with 2 speed attacks. His run duration ranges from 42 seconds to 45 seconds. These are the heroes which you can use if you don't want to think too much or go through the hassle of doing tedious equipping. I would recommend Nox for this. Finally, revealing the most stable farmer, and she is none other than Cleo. Yes, you are not dreaming, it's really Cleo. I swear Netmarble is gonna kick my butt for this, and this may just be valid for another 2 weeks before she gets a nerf, so make the most out of her. How dare you, Netmarble, for ruining our farming. Anyway, Cleo has 2 5-man AoE attacks with an insanely short skill animation. Every run will be completed under 40 seconds, with 37 seconds being the most consistent average. I have put down all the details you need to know for Cleo at the side. Basically, you don't need her to speed attack, so give her lethal weapons instead. Her speed is atrociously low at a mere 16 base points, so the chance of her doing 2 speed attacks is also very low. Hooray! Use her top skill first because it has a shorter cooldown period. You will need a skill cooldown jewel, skill cooldown guilt-in buff, and skill cooldown pet like Kale for this to really work. Then bottom skill in the second wave, and as you will see by the third wave, Cleo's top skill is completely ready to be casted again and everything is smooth and well. Of course, the drawback here is that due to the lack of a farming pet, you are going to get less gold or fodder or any other resource. But here she is, the fastest and most stable farmer for 610. So I hope this video has helped you in planning who your 610 farmer is gonna be to get more soul shards in a shorter period of time. Extra tip here, it is now certainly better to do your 610 runs outside of hot time unless you are confident in getting fast runs. Do remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more guides. Thank you so much and see you!